Let that number sink in for a second. Not one, not two, not a he said, she said rumor whispered in a hallway. 17. We are talking about 17 separate high-fidelity audio recordings. If you thought you knew where this trial was going, forget it. Rip up the playbook, throw it in the trash. Because what just happened in the last 48 hours isn't a development. It's a nuclear detonation inside the defense's war room. For months, we've watched Donald Trump's legal team strut around like they owned the place. They were arrogant. They were loud. They told anyone who would listen that the prosecution had nothing. They called it a witch hunt, a hoax, a house of cards. Well, guess what? The house of cards didn't fall. The fortress collapsed. And it collapsed because the one person, the single human being they trusted to hold the keys to the kingdom, just handed those keys to the district attorney. The meat, the betrayal, you need to understand the scale of this disaster in the criminal underworld, and let's call it what it is, because this isn't a board meeting. This is organized crime logic. There is one rule: silence. You buy silence, you enforce silence, you count on silence. Trump's entire defense strategy was built on one assumption: that the star witness would take the fall. That was the plan. It was simple. The witness goes to the stand, looks the jury in the eye, and says, I did it. I went rogue. The boss didn't know. That's the fall guy defense. It's classic. It works. Until the fall guy realizes he's about to spend the rest of his life in a federal prison while the boss plays golf. And that's exactly what happened. The fall guy looked at the jail time. He looked at the evidence prosecutors found in his house, and he decided he wasn't going down alone. But he didn't just flip. He didn't just agree to talk. He brought insurance. See, in my line of work, we see people flip all the time. And usually it's their word against the Dons. The defense lawyers destroy them on cross-examination. They call them liars, rats, desperate criminals trying to save their own skin. But you can't cross-examine a tape recording. You can't call an audio file a liar. The analysis, why audio kills, this is the nightmare scenario. Defense attorneys wake up screaming about this stuff. Paperwork. You can explain away paperwork. Oh, that signature was forged. Oh, that was a clerical error. Oh, my client didn't read the fine print. But audio, Donald Trump's own voice, in his own words, discussing the specific mechanics of a criminal conspiracy, that's not evidence. That's a coffin nail. And we aren't talking about vague conversations about the weather. According to sources who have heard these tapes, the clarity is terrifying. We are talking about explicit instructions. We are talking about the how-to guide for committing fraud. The arrogance is stunning. They thought they were untouchable. They thought no one would ever dare wear a wire. They thought loyalty was absolute. But here is the brutal truth about loyalty in Trump's orbit. It only goes one way. And when the pressure cooker got dialed up to 1,000 degrees, that loyalty evaporated. The contrast, think back to January 7th, just a few days ago. The defense team was popping champagne. They were briefing reporters on background, bragging about how they were going to humiliate the day. They thought the witness was solid. Then came the raid on January 8th. Then came the panic. Now, silence. The bluster is gone. The confident tweets are gone, replaced by a terrified scramble to find a parachute, because they know what's on those tapes. Or worse, they don't know. They don't know if there are more. They don't know who else was recording. This witness was in the room where it happened. Every meeting, every strategy session, every dirty deal, and for 18 months, while Trump's team was building their defense, this witness was apparently building a library of crimes. The bridge, and you want to know the sickest part? The part that turns this from a financial crime into something straight out of a mob movie. It's not just about money. It's about the cover-up. It's about the specific words Trump allegedly used when he thought no one was listening. You think you've heard it all? You think you know how low this goes? You have no idea. Because when I tell you what is allegedly on tape number 4, it's going to make your blood run cold. You know, in this business, we talk a lot about smoking guns, usually. It's a metaphor. A missing email. A suspicious calendar entry. But this isn't a smoking gun. This is a video of the shooter holding the weapon, looking into the camera, and explaining exactly how he bought the bullets. Let's get into the specifics, because the devil isn't just in the details. He's on the recording. According to sources who have been briefed on these 17 recordings, there is one exchange that stands out above the rest. It's the kill shot. In one recording, Donald Trump allegedly says, and listen to these words carefully, "The key is making sure there's no paper trail back to me. You handle it. But I never touched it. Understand? Stop. Just stop right there." Do you realize what that means? That one sentence, that is the end of the innocent ignorance defense. That is the death of the "I was too busy running the country to know about the accounting excuse. No paper trail back to me." That is consciousness of guilt. Pure and simple. Innocent people don't worry about paper trails. Businessmen doing legitimate deals don't demand that their name be scrubbed from the records. Criminals do that. Mob bosses do that. He is explicitly instructing his subordinate to insulate him from the crime. You handle it. That's the code. You commit the crime. I reap the benefit. And if anyone asks, I was never there. It's the Tony Soprano playbook. Except Tony Soprano was smart enough not to get recorded doing it. But if you think that's bad, wait. Because it gets darker. Much darker. There is another recording, and this one. This one should terrify every single American, regardless of who you voted for. Sources say Trump is heard discussing what happens if the scheme blows up, if the feds come knocking. And he allegedly says this: "If this ever comes out, you take the fall. I'll pardon you if I have to. But you never mention my name. Let's be real for a second. Let's cut through the noise." He isn't just talking about a crime. He is talking about obstructing justice, using the powers of the presidency. He is treating the presidential pardon, a constitutional power meant for mercy, as a transactional tool to buy silence from his co-conspirators. "I'll pardon you if I have to." That is a bribe. That is witness tampering. That is a promise that the rule of law does not apply to the friends of Donald. Think about the psychology there. He knows it's illegal. He knows they might get caught. And his solution isn't to stop doing it. His solution is to rig the game so that even if they lose, they win. And it's not just the big dramatic mafia moments. It's the granular, dirty details of the fraud itself. Other recordings allegedly captured Trump discussing specific dollar amounts. He's not vague. He's not asking questions. He's giving orders. He's instructing them on how to structure payments. For those of you who don't know, structuring is a federal crime. It's when you break up a large payment into smaller chunks to avoid triggering automatic reports to the Treasury Department. It's what drug dealers do. It's what money launderers do. And here we have the former president of the United States, allegedly on tape, acting like a two-bit accountant for a cartel, explaining how to dodge the IRS. Defense attorneys love to talk about context. They love to say, oh, he was joking, or he was speaking hypothetically. Good luck selling that to a jury when they hear the tone of his voice. You can't recontextualize a direct order to hide evidence. You can't spin a promise to abuse the pardon power. These recordings strip away the suit and tie. They strip away the business mogul persona. And what's left underneath? A desperate man running a criminal enterprise from the Oval Office. But here is the thing about audio. It's powerful. It's emotional. But in a court of law, you need more than just a voice. You need receipts. You need the hard data to back up the tough talk. The tapes prove he wanted to commit the crime, but did he actually do it? Well, folks, hold on to your seats, because this witness didn't just bring a microphone. They brought the books, the real books, the ones the IRS was never supposed to see. Let's get one thing straight. You can talk tough on a tape. You can brag about crimes. But in a white-collar case, the numbers are God. And for decades, Donald Trump has played a shell game with the numbers. He shows one set to the banks to get loans, and another set to the taxman to pay nothing. Everyone knew it, everyone suspected it, but nobody could prove it until now. Because this witness didn't just flip, they handed prosecutors the Rosetta Stone. Sources confirm the existence of what they are calling the second set of books. Let me explain what that means in plain English. This isn't creative accounting. This isn't aggressive tax strategy. This is fraud, systematic, deliberate, cold-blooded fraud. One set of books. The fake one was for the world to see clean, legal, boring. The other set, the real one, was hidden in the dark. And this witness, they were the keeper of the dark books. They provided 3,000 documents, bank records, wire transfers, ledger entries. They traced every dirty penny. They showed exactly how money was siphoned off, washed through shell companies, and deposited into secret accounts. And it removes the last line of defense. Trump's lawyers can't say, oh, it was a mistake. You don't accidentally maintain a parallel financial universe for 10 years. You don't accidentally create shell companies with names that sound like bad sci-fi villains. But the documents alone aren't even the worst part. It's the translation. The witness provided the decoder ring. So, see, these guys aren't stupid. They didn't write bribe for illegal activity in the memo line of the check. They used codes. They used nicknames. They used jargon designed to confuse investigators. And now the prosecutors have the dictionary. They know that when the ledger says consulting fee, it actually means hush money. They know that when it says Project X, it means cover-up operation. The witness is walking the grand jury through these documents line by line. Here is the crime. Here is the cover-up. Here is the boss signing off on it. And guess what happens when the dam breaks? Everyone gets wet. The prosecutors are calling it a cooperation cascade. That's fancy lawyer talk for the rats are fleeing the ship. 3 other witnesses, people who refused to talk last week, people who swore loyalty to the king, are suddenly reconsidering why? Because they aren't idiots. They see the star witness getting immunity. They see the evidence piling up. And they realize, if I don't talk now, I am going to be the last one left in the burning building. The district attorney is essentially handing out tickets to the lifeboats. And supplies are running low. This is what kills me about the defense's public posturing. They are still out there on TV screaming about a witch hunt. Wake up. The witness handed over text messages discussing the destruction of evidence. They have chats about coordinating lies to the authorities. That is what the law calls consciousness of guilt. Innocent people don't destroy documents. Innocent people don't tell their friends to lie to the FBI. Innocent people don't need a second set of books. The sheer scale of the deception is breathtaking. They built a machine designed to deceive, and they ran it from the top down. So we have the voice on the tapes. We have the numbers in the books. We have the intent in the text messages. The case is closed. The evidence is overwhelming. And inside Trump Tower, they know it. They aren't planning a defense anymore. They are planning a funeral. Because what is happening right now behind those gold-plated doors isn't a legal strategy session. It's pure, unadulterated panic. And the walls are closing in fast. If you want to know how bad this really is, don't look at the court filings. Look at the faces of the people leaving Trump Tower. The sources describe the scene inside as volcanic. We aren't talking about a professional legal team analyzing a setback. We are talking about a room full of people realizing the Titanic just hit the iceberg and there are no lifeboats. 2 senior attorneys are reportedly walking away and quitting. Think about that. These are people who get paid millions to defend the indefensible. They have stomachs of steel, but even they have a limit. They looked at the tapes, they looked at the second set of books, and they said, I am out. One source inside the room said it's pure panic mixed with rage. Lawyers are shouting over each other. Trump is demanding they fix it. But you can't fix this. You can't fix your own voice on a tape, admitting to a crime. The smart ones are updating their resumes. The loyal ones, they're just waiting to be subpoenaed. And what is the response from the defendant? Is it a calm, reasoned legal defense? No, it's intimidation. Trump has taken to social media. He's calling the witness a rat, a traitor. He's putting a target on their back. But here is the dark reality that the mainstream media glosses over. The authorities are taking this seriously, very seriously. And the witness has been moved to a secure, undisclosed location. Federal marshals, guys with guns and badges, are providing 24/7 protection. Let's be real, this is a white-collar financial case. And usually the witnesses are accountants in cardigans. When you have to hide a witness, like they're testifying against a cartel boss, it tells you everything you need to know about the danger. It tells you that the prosecutors believe the threat is real. But here is the irony. Every time Trump posts a threat, every time he attacks the witness, he is just digging the hole deeper. Prosecutors are watching his feed like hawks. Every tweet is evidence. Every attack is potential witness tampering. He is literally manufacturing new crimes in real time because he can't control his temper. His lawyers are begging him to stop. Put the phone down. Shut up. But he won't. He can't. He thinks he can bully his way out of this. Like, he's bullied his way out of everything else for 40 years. But a jury isn't a contractor you can stiff. A judge isn't a zoning board you can bribe. And there is one more thing keeping him up at night. The family. Sources say this witness knows everything. Not just about Donald, but about the kids. About the family business operations. If this investigation expands, and it is expanding, it drags everyone in. The IRS is circling. The SEC is circling. The DOJ is looking at national security implications. He's terrified. Not because he cares about justice, but because he sees the Trump brand, his entire identity, about to be liquidated. So, where does that leave us? The clock is ticking louder than a bomb. Prosecutors are pushing for a March trial. March. That is tomorrow in legal time. The delay tactics are over. The executive privilege nonsense is dead. The I didn't know defense is shattered. For the first time in his life, Donald Trump is facing a situation he can't spin, he can't buy, and he can't bully. He is facing the raw, unfiltered truth, recorded in high definition, documented in black and white. The fortress has fallen. The star witness has flipped. And the only question left isn't if he gets convicted. It's how many years. This story is moving fast. The names of the other flippers, they're coming next. The content of the other 16 tapes, we're going to find out. If you want to be the first to know when the next domino falls, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notifications, because the Maverick Pundit isn't going anywhere, and neither is this case. See you in the comments.